Close your eyes for a second. That soft black you're staring into, the dark, the quiet nothing, feels exactly like what being blind must be. You probably figure that's the whole story. A lifetime of that same black, the lights switched off for good. But the real answer is far stranger because a person born blind doesn't see black at all, and nothing turns out to be almost impossible to picture. Try something quick. Without turning around, see what's behind your head right now. Not picture it, see it, you can't. There's no black square back there, no dark wall waiting. There's just a kind of gap, a place your vision doesn't reach, and that gap is about the closest you'll ever get to what a person blind from birth lives with, except for them it's everywhere, all the time. The funny part is you've had the example sitting behind your own skull your whole life, and never once clocked it. The mistake most of us make is simple. We think black is what's left when seeing stops. It isn't. Black is something you see. Your eyes have to be working to deliver it. Sit in a closet with the door shut, and your eyes are still on the clock, still sending the same flat little message upstairs. Nothing here, nothing here, nothing here. That message is a picture, dull as dishwater, sure, but a picture. Take the eyes out of it from birth, and that message never gets sent. Not black, not gray, not dark. There's no signal there to be dark. So the honest answer to your question, do they know the color is black, is kind of yes and no at once. They know the word. They know black sits in a list next to white and red. They know it's the shade people attach to night, to coal, to the suit you wear to a funeral. What they don't have is the seeing of it. And you can't hand that over with a definition. The same way nobody could ever talk you into a brand new color. Go on, try to imagine one. You'll hit a wall. None of which leaves them clueless about color, weirdly enough. A cognitive scientist at Johns Hopkins, Marina Bedney, has spent years digging into what blind brains actually know, and the answer is a little humbling. People blind from birth understand color about as well as you do. Not the look of it, the logic of it. They know red sits nearer to orange than to green. They know a banana goes green to yellow. That the sky changes at sunset, that one patch can't be two solid colors at the same time. They worked out the entire quiet structure of color without ever seeing a scrap of it, purely from how the rest of us talk. Which kind of makes you wonder how much of what you think you know about the world you ever really saw with your own eyes. There's a famous question buried in all this, by the way. People argued about it for 3 centuries before anyone could test it. I'll come back to it. It's worth the wait. One thing worth saying first. Blind covers a lot of ground. Plenty of people who count as legally blind still catch some light, the glow off a window, the difference between a lit room and a dark one. Total blindness, the real zero, no light at all, is rarer than people think. So most of the time when someone tells you they're blind, they're not saying the world went black. They're saying it got dimmer, or blurrier, or partly rubbed out. Now you'd assume a brain that never gets any sight just has a dead patch at the back, a room nobody rented. It doesn't. Not at all. Around the early 2000s, a researcher at Harvard, Alvaro Pascual-Leone, ran something that honestly sounds a bit cruel. He blindfolded sighted volunteers completely and kept them that way for 5 days straight. No peeking. And the visual part of their brains, the bit at the back that's supposed to handle seeing, didn't sit there doing nothing. Within a few days, it started pitching in on touch and hearing instead. The volunteers got noticeably quicker at reading Braille with their fingertips. 5 days. The brain won't leave good property empty. Board up the windows, and it hands the room to a new tenant. In a person blind since birth, that's not a quick patch job. That's how the whole place was built. Brain scans show the back of the head, the part that would have done vision, getting pulled into language, into memory, into sound and touch. The real estate that should be painting you a sunset is off helping somebody follow a sentence. So the inside of a blind person's head isn't a dark, empty room. It's furnished differently, in a couple of corners better than yours. It reaches all the way into sleep, too. A group of Danish researchers, led by Amani Meidi, looked at the dreams of people blind from birth, and those dreams had everything yours have: the feeling, the story, the weight of them, minus one ingredient: no images, none. They dreamed in sound and touch and smell and taste. Someone might dream a whole argument, feel a downpour, taste a full meal, and never see a single frame of it because you can't dream in a language your brain never learned to speak. Their nights are as packed as yours, just made of different stuff. And a handful of them can do things you flat out can't. Daniel Kish lost both eyes to cancer as a toddler. He gets around by clicking his tongue, little sharp clicks, and reading the echoes that bounce back off walls and parked cars and open doorways. The man rides a mountain bike, on his own, through traffic. People love calling him a real-life Batman, which, fair enough, he finds a bit reductive. It's echolocation, the same trick bats and dolphins run, working on a human brain that figured the spare visual cortex might as well help map a room by ear. That boarded up space from a minute ago? In his head, it wired itself straight to his ears. Flip the whole thing over, though, because losing sight after you've had it goes strange in the opposite direction. What happens to the people who could see and then couldn't? Geneva, 1760. An old man named Charles Lullin, eyes half gone to cataracts, is sitting in his rooms when people start turning up. Men in cloaks, a couple of young women, birds, carriages, entire buildings that are not there. He isn't frightened, and he isn't losing his grip. He knows perfectly well none of it is real, he just can't make it stop. His grandson writes the whole thing down, a naturalist named Charles Bonnet, and to this day, the condition carries his name, Charles Bonnet syndrome. And the twist is the hallucinations aren't a sign of a mind falling apart. They're a sign of one with nothing left to do. When the eyes quit sending pictures, that restless visual cortex doesn't always go quiet. Sometimes it starts inventing, filling the silence with stuff it makes up on the spot. Some people see repeating patterns, some see little figures in detailed costumes. There's a documented case of a man who kept seeing cartoon faces with enormous teeth, which seems needlessly rude of his own brain. The point holds, though. Going blind doesn't always drop you into the dark. For a lot of people, it does the reverse, and the lights start switching on by themselves. Right, that 3-century-old question I left hanging, here it is. In 1688, an Irishman named William Molyneux wrote to the philosopher John Locke with a puzzle. Say a person's been blind their whole life and has learned, by touch alone, to tell a cube from a ball. Now cure them. The instant they open their eyes, could they tell which is which just by looking, no hands? Locke had no idea. For 300 years, nobody did. It was the sort of thing you argue about and then order another round. Then somebody actually went and checked. Pawan Sinha, a neuroscientist at MIT, started a project in India in the mid-2000s called Prakash, which means light. He goes looking for kids who've been blind from birth because of cataracts that can actually be fixed, and he fixes them, often giving them sight for the first time in their lives. So picture it. A clinic in New Delhi, a child of 8 or 12 whose eyes have never once landed on a face, the bandages come off. And Molyneux finally gets his answer. It's no. Not at first. Give a kid like that a fresh pair of working eyes, and they can't tell the cube from the ball by sight. The world doesn't show up sorted into objects. It pours in as a mess. Edges, color, none of it stuck to anything. Splashes that don't add up yet. Seeing isn't something your eyes just hand you for free. Your brain has to learn how to do it. The good news, and this part gets me, is they pick it up fast. Give it days, give it weeks, and the mess sorts itself out. The splashes turn into a cube, a face, a mother, a world, which drops us right back at you, eyes shut, staring at that black from the start. Because if seeing has to be learned, then what you call just looking is a staggering amount of work your brain does behind your back and never sends you the bill for. You feel like you're taking the world in. You're actually building it, guessing the bits you can't quite see, and painting them in. Want to know how sure you can be that you do this? You've got a hole in your vision right now. Each eye has a blind spot where the nerve punches through and nothing gets picked up at all. A little patch of genuine nothing parked in your view. You've never noticed it. Not once. Because your brain quietly fills it with whatever it reckons should be there and never bothers to tell you. You spend every waking minute with a gap in your sight and a brain calmly covering for it. So back to where we started. You figured blindness was black, a room with the lights off, the world gone dark. I figured the exact same thing for years. But darkness was never what's left over when sight goes away. Darkness is one of the things sight gives you in the first place. The blind aren't sitting inside your black. They're somewhere you can't actually follow them, not even in your head. The same place that's been parked behind your own skull this whole time while you sat here listening. Shut your eyes one more time. That black? It isn't nothing. It's your brain still clocked in, still painting, still set on showing you something, even when there's nothing there to show.